else, I think you've been comprehensive.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some notes that kind of tie into some other things. You know, if it was a Kyle Rittenhouse trial, I'm sure they'd be necessary, but not for this level of thing. I think I did enough.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
No problem. Hello, everyone. It's time for the decision. Decision for my appeal to this cold, pathetic eviction attempt. Eviction. Here goes. In a matter of the Residential Tenancy Act, as amended between Derek and Home Life Advantage Realty regarding a rental unit, basement, date of hearing December 6, 2021 by conference call. I'm a little nervous. Decision, dispute codes, CNC, I don't know what that means. Introduction. The tenants applied to dispute 2 1-month notice to end tenancy for cause. The notices or notice pursuant to section 47(4) of the Residential Tenancy Act. In addition, they applied to recover the cost of the filing fee under section 72 of the Act. The tenant's application included claims for landlord compliance, section 62 of the Act, and for an order for repairs, section 32 and 62. However, given the limited time of the hearing and the secondary nature of these latter claims, they will be dismissed with leave to reapply. The tenants remain at liberty to reapply for those 2 claims. Both tenants and an agent for the landlord attended the hearing. No service issues other than an issue with the notice of dispute resolution proceeding, which is addressed below, were raised. The parties, the tenant, DG, and the agent, were affirmed. It should be noted that, though through an oversight, I neglected to advise the parties that any recording of the hearing was prohibited under the rules. The tenants received the first notice. Okay, blah blah blah. That is, I just testified that he served a copy of the notice of dispute resolution proceeding package on the homeowner, that is the legal landlord who is represented by the agent, on or about August 18, 2021. The homeowner, Jesse, refused to accept the package. However, the tenant then believed that there was a mix-up and then gave the notice of dispute resolution proceeding package to the then current property manager, PM. The agent in this hearing, VF, Victoria Flack, took over from the PR. Why is there so much? Why don't they just tell me what happened? She then first became aware of the tenant's application. And when she made an application for dispute resolution on November 1st, 2021, and received a copy of the tenant's tenant request to amend a dispute resolution application document, there was no proof of service document submitted into evidence by the tenants. The tenant referred to video footage of PR holding a package, Pat Robinson. However, there was no video evidence in the file. For fuck's sake. If the tenants had submitted this evidence, it is not before me. No, I haven't submitted that evidence. Based on the testimony of the parties, it is my finding that it is more likely than not that the previous property manager, PR, failed to provide the package to the current property manager. So far, so good. I find the tenant's oral evidence in respect of serving first the homeowner and then the property manager, PR, to be credible. Oh, that's not bad. Indeed, that the landlord's application is for an order of possession based on the second notice and not the first, is indicative, and there was a disjunct between PR's and VF's roles as property manager. Be that as it may, given that the landlord seeks an order of possession based on the second notice, and given that the landlord was provided with a copy of the tenant's amendment, albeit a less than perfectly completed one, it is my finding that there was satisfactory service of the tenant's notice of dispute resolution proceeding. Okay, so that's good, but hold on a second here. Are the tenants entitled to an order canceling the second notice? To an order canceling. Is the landlord entitled to an order of possession? Are the tenants entitled to recover the cost of the filing fee? I don't even care about the cost and shit about that right now, like later on. Relevant evidence complying with the rules of procedure was carefully considered in reaching this decision. Only relevant oral and documentary evidence needed to resolve the specific issues of dispute and to explain the decision is reproduced below. The tenancy began on March 1st, 2013. Monthly rent is, and the tenants paid, copy, whatever. The agent testified that they served the second notice, hereby simply the notice unless otherwise noted, by Canada Post registered mail on September 22nd, 2021. All 3 pages of the notice were served, and a copy of the notice was submitted into evidence. The notice was signed by the agent VF on September 22nd, 2021. The agent confirmed the address of the rental unit as well as the legal name. Page 2 of the notice indicates that it was issued because the tenants have significantly interfered with or unreasonably disturbed another occupant or the landlord and seriously jeopardized the health or safety or lawful right of another occupant or the landlord. The agent gave evidence that the tenants have continuously smoked marijuana and cigarettes both inside and outside of the residence. They didn't give any evidence, they just said that. Well, what the hell? This has led to the health of the upstairs property owner's wife being negatively affected. They have asked the tenants to stop smoking, but the tenants have not stopped. The warnings have mostly been verbal. The first written warning was the first notice that was issued in the summer. In addition to the smoking, the tenants have apparently thrown cigarette butts onto the dry grass, which is a fire hazard. One incident occurred on July 27, 2021. The tenancy agreement includes a clause in the addendum which requires that any smoking occur outside. They said on the phone that they never even saw this. There does not appear to be any term of the tenancy agreement which prohibits smoking entirely from the property, okay? The tenant testified that there is something strange that in the 8.5 years that he and other tenant have resided in the rental unit and have smoked outside, that all of a sudden they received an eviction notice. The tenant argued that the first notice was served not long after a series of arguments between the tenant, the other tenant, and the upstairs landlord. Much of the argument stemmed from an incident involving the garden hose. Apparently the tenant was either drinking from the hose or using it to cool off in a 40°C plus heat, and the landlord told him he could not use it. The tenant further testified that the female owner may not have been familiar with the smell of meat being cooked. The tenant was cooking oysters and steak and may have thought that was cigarette smoke. No, marijuana smoke, for God's sakes. This caused breathing problems. The tenant reiterated that at no time was he or other tenant smoking inside the rental unit. Analysis. Where a tenant applies to dispute a 1 month... man, this is tense. Applies to dispute a 1 month notice to end tenancy for cause, the onus is on the landlord to prove, liken it, on a balance of probabilities, the grounds on which the notice is based. In the dispute, only the second notice will be addressed. For all intents and purposes, the first notice is considered moot. The notice was issued under 2 grounds. Section 47(1)(di). Significantly interfered with or unreasonably disturbed, yeah, we heard this, safety. First, in respect of the cigarette butt being thrown onto the lawn. There is no evidence that this single documented incident seriously jeopardized the safety or lawful right or interest of the landlord. Certainly throwing a cigarette butt onto dry grass during a heat wave is unwise, but there is no evidence before me to establish that a fire was started. For this reason, this specific ground for issuing the notice is not proven. Okay, that's good. That having been said, the tenants are cautioned that any further tossing of butts or roaches onto the lawn may result in a further notice to end tenancy. I think we're good. Hold on. Not to mention that such behavior does not exactly help a landlord-tenant relationship. Second, in respect to the landlord's health issues, there is no doubt that marijuana or cigarette smoke may, I can see where this is going, affect her health. Indeed, the physician's note submitted into evidence clearly states that the landlady has a history of asthma. Her symptoms get worse with any kind of smoke inhalation. At present, cannabis smoke at home is making her symptoms worse. And it is not lost on me that the tenant smoking outside the rental unit, there is no evidence before me to find the tenant smoke inside the rental unit, no kidding, right? Interferes with the upstairs, blah, blah, blah. However, the tenant smoking is in fact permitted by the tenancy agreement. Smoking outside the rental unit has been permitted since the tenancy began in March of 2013. In other words, the very activity for which the landlord seeks to end tenancy is expressly permitted under the tenancy agreement. No kidding, right? You're a virgin! Moreover, the tenant's activity is legal, including the smoke of marijuana. In short, while the upstairs lady may be disturbed by the smoke, given the timing of the first notice being issued... oh shit, battery! Oh, we're still good. Good thing I plugged it in for a while. Timing the first notice being issued is more likely than not that the notice was issued in retaliation for the unresolved long-running dispute between the parties over a garden hose. Yeah! In summary then, and taking into consideration all the oral testimony and documentary evidence presented before me, and applying the law to the facts, I find on a balance of probabilities that the landlord has not proven the grounds on which the notice was issued. Given the above, the notices are both cancelled and have no legal force or effect. Yeah! Ha ha!
Not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts?
Landlord's application is dismissed without leave to reapply. They are. Whoa! As the tenants were successful in this meeting, they were awarded $100. Yeah, I'm a millionaire. I get $100. Wait. Pursuant to Section 72A of the Tenants Act, are entitled to make a one-time deduction of $100. Conclusion: the landlord's application is dismissed. Woo-wee. Okay, you're gonna be a little late on this, but it is what it is.